Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to do something really exciting today, especially to book lovers. Okay, so these are the collections of my book. I have 2 bookshelves. My favorite genre is always a young adult fantasy or anything that involves female and female relationship. I do not put my books in any particular order. It's just up to my preferences or how I felt that day. So let's get into the first book. So this section is mostly my Harry Potter books. This is the first book, the second book, and this is the 4th book, which is the Goblet of Fire and the Order of the Phoenix, the Half-Blood Prince, and also the final book, which is the Deathly Hallows. I think I lost the 3rd book because I lent my book to my friend. But the first and the second book of Harry Potter series is in Bahasa Melayu. I remember I bought them when I was probably 14 or 15 years old. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain and The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is The Alchemist. This one is a Malay book. It's Enrique Mengundang Jauh. I think I got this from the library, from my school library, and I forgot to return this book. Sorry. Okay, so let's move on to this section. These sections contain mostly of thriller and detective books. This is Malice from Keigo Higashino. The Armchair Detectives. This is the Candy Crane Murder by Joanne Fluke. 50 Detective Stories. This is 6 Suspects by Vika Swarup. These are the three books by Agatha Christie, translated to Bahasa Malaysia. Pembunuhan di Sungai Nil, The ABC Murder, and Pembunuhan di Express Orient. These 3 books are Japanese books translated in Bahasa Melayu as well. Pembunuhan di Universiti Hagoromo, Misteri Pembunuhan Sawako, and Misteri Banglo Kucing. This is The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes by Conan Doyle. This one is also Sherlock Holmes. The Interpretation of Murder by Jed Rubenfeld. The Murders of Richard III. And the last book is Robin Cook. The last book is Toxin by Robin Cook. So moving on to this section, which consists mostly of my Stephen King's book, Nightmare and Dreamscapes, 4 Past Midnights. This one is Cell. This one is Joyland in Bahasa Melayu, Under the Dome, and Dr. Sleep. This is a Malay interactive book by Saleh Kausari. And this one is The Oath. This was given by my dad when I was 15 years old. Are my Malay novels. Mostly by Ramli Awal Mursyid because I am his big fan. So this is Hatiku di Harajuku, Rahsia Perindu, Aku Bercerita, Mikail, Satu Janji, Tombiro Terakhir, Rayuan Fantasi, Semangat Hutan. Well, I forgot, I have one more book by Ramli Awal Mursyid, which is Tombiro, but I forgot where I put it, so consider it missing. And I have another thriller book, Jalan Terakhir by Zaiful Zaman Ahmad, and this is an Indonesian book by Endra Hirata, which is Indah. So I really like this book. Loving You by Haruno Hana, Kini Aku Bebas by Laura Caldwell. This is actually a Malay translation book, an English book translated to Malay. And this is The Untold Story by Farah Hussein. This is also one of my favorite books. Moving on to this section, the only collection of my romance book. I don't really read romance book, but anyway, I would like to show to you guys. This is Inglorious by Joanna Kavina, What Happens in London by Julia Quinn, and the Bridget Jones book, both by Helen Fielding. This is these 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 books are by Alexandra Potter. This is by Nicholas Spark, The Rescue. This is by Sophie Kinsella, The Undomestic Goddess. This is by Nicholas Spark, A Walk to Remember. This is by Carolyn B. Cooney. Out of Time, a time travel book. And this is Just Like Heaven by Julia Quinn. Okay, moving on to this section, a compilation mostly for mystery books. Think Twice by Lisa Scottoline. I hope I got her name right. Yes, this is a thriller book. And then I have Critical Mass by Sarah Paretsky, The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. This is The Night Eternal, The Dark Alchemy, and these 4 books are Malay publication, horror stories by Tunku Halim. This one is Project Seram Airport, consists of a few short stories in Bahasa Melayu. These 2 books are from a local writer, Helmi Effendi, Dari Alam Lain and The Lost World. My comic books, as you can see, Siren is one of my favorite comic book when I was younger. Well, I still like to read comic books until now, but I switched to online manga reading. And this is my favorite comic of all time, Chocolate. And these are my Detective Conan manga. I'm not sure how many books I collected, but I read them when I was still a student. Let's move on to this shelf. These 2 shelves mostly consist of LGBTQ books. So I have this. This is actually a BL manga in Japanese. I got this from my Japanese friend. Yeah. So this is Annie on My Mind by Nancy Garden, Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, Ash and Huntress, both by Melinda Lowe, and Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, Empress of the World by Sarah Ryan, Keeping You a Secret by Julie Ann Peters, Ask the Passengers by A.S. King, How They Met by David Levithan, and Boy Meets Boy also by him. And I have Tomorrow's Promise by Radcliffe, Fated Love by Radcliffe, Unicontracts by Julia Ember, and this one is All the Devil's Here by Esther Penn. And this is also consists of mostly LGBTQ books. I hope you can see. Okay, this is my favorite book. I really like this book so much. It is female fantasy book, Breaking Legacies by Zoe Reed. This is Timekeeper by Tara Sim, Fire and Stars by Aubrey Coldhurst, and then Bleeding Earth by Caitlin Ward, and then the newest book in my collection, The Tiger's Daughter by K. Arsenal Rivera. I think this should be a very interesting book. And then I have A Little Life by Yanagihara. And then I have Passing Strange by Ellen Cage. The Seafarer's Kiss by Julia Amber. The Wishing Heart by J.C. Welker. Project Unicorn Volume 1 and Project Unicorn Volume 2. Cage the Darlings by Elora Bishop. The Road to You by Harper Bliss. As I Descended by Robin Talley. Inheritance by Melinda Lowe. Girl Heart Girl by Lucy Sutcliffe. Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. And Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. Oh, I forgot. I have one more section of LGBTQ books. This is Princess Ever After. I got this from my secret pumpkin partner. And I have The Legend of Korra manga, comic book. And then I have Interference by Zoe Reed. The Cursed Queen by Natasha Hellenthal. When Women Were Warriors by Wilson. And I have The Mermaid's Daughter, The Edge of Abyss, and The Abyss Surrounds Us. This is actually a series. These 2 books. And then I have The Noble of Speroth. And then Beyond the Skyline by Lise Gold. And They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Moving on to the lowest section of my bookshelf, I have, that one is Eat, Pray, Love. I have The Log Artist, The Calligrapher's Daughter. I have Parade by Shuichi Yoshida. I have Thick as Thieves by Peter Spiegelman. I have Hobbit and Thieves of Faith. So this part of my bookshelves are mostly YA fantasy. So let's check out this section. I have An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. And I have Cecilia Ahern book, Flawed. I have 2 of my favorite books, The Six of Crows and Crow Kingdom duology. These 2 are a duology book. And then I have this 3 books by Marie Lu, The Young Elites, The Royal Society, and The Midnight Star. And I have 3 series trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. And then I also, down here I have Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. 2 books by Linda Blake. The 3 Dark Crown and One Dark Throne. First book of the Engels Forest trilogy, which is The Circle. I haven't read this book, but I heard so many good things about this, so I would definitely going to read them soon. And then I have The Palace by Patrick Weeks. And I have Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I have Leviathan by Westerfeld. Arabella of Mars by David D. Levine. And Linger, Forever, and Shiver. So moving on to this part of my bookshelf. I have, this is where it ends. And this one is The Darkest Mind. I haven't read this book yet, but I will soon. Salt to the Sea, I really like this book. School of Good and Evil. The first book, I haven't read the second and the third book yet, but I will. I have Pendragon. This is the oldest book on my bookshelf. I think I got this when I was in Form 1. And then I have the 2 books by Genevieve Kaufman, The Invisible Library and The Masked City. I haven't read the 3rd and the 4th book yet, but I will. The Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins, Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, which I don't really like. So these two books are vampire books. The Society of S by Susan Hubbard. I like this one better than Twilight. Moving on to this shelf. So this one is The Golden Sun, which is the second book after Red Rising. But I haven't read this book yet, and I haven't read the first books. And then we have The Lottery by Beth Gooby. And then Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. And then The Burning Air by Erin Kelly. The Finisher by David Baldacci. Fire by Kristen Kishore. Stephen Gately. The Tree of Seasons by Stephen Gately. The Book Thief by Marcus Zak. The New Collected Short Stories by Jeffrey Archer. And one of my favorite books of all time, The Night Circus. Moving on to this shelf below, I have 3 books by V.E. Schwab, The Darker Shade of Magic, and A Gathering of Shadows. This is the Savage Song. I also have the Ice and Fire series. These are collection of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books from the Cotswold series. I haven't read them yet, but I got it for a cheaper price, so I might be reading them later. I think these are thriller books, detective stories. And I have The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, the books by Gillian Flynn, Sharp Objects, Dark Places, and Gone Girl. And I have 3 books from John Grisham, The Appeal, The Firm, and The Confession. In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And I have few more books by Agatha Christie. This is One to Buckle My Shoes. And I have And There Were None. I have The Body in the Library and The Murder on the Express Orient. This one is in English. I have 1 book from Natsuo Kirino, the author of Out, Grotesque, The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torrey. I really like this book. I don't know why. This book is interesting. Very, very interesting. I also have the original Folk of Fairy Tales and Fairy Tales of the Brothers Grimm. I can't wait to read this book, but I haven't got time yet. Heartless by Marissa Meyer, and Caravel from Stephanie Garber. And last but not least, The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, The Thousandth Floor by Catherine McGee. I don't really like this book so much. Passengers by Alexandra Bracken, Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder, Dracula Grange School by Kim Newman, The Girl from Everywhere from Heidi Heilig, Ready Player One, And I Darken by Kirsten White, The Memory Game by Nikki French, and The Burning Soul by John Connolly. Okay, so that's it for my video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up or comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye!